This is the Hey You Video Game Podcast, and it's your new best friends. I'm sweet, sweet, sweet Lemon Smith.
Gimmick here.
And Verendy Puppet.
Oh,
What a
sounding
flair.
smooth.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Oh, that was hot.
That was so good.
Your voice is the bass, and the voice is really it's been perfected.
Well, we've been doing
Hello.
some hot research on, to make sure our voices are as good as possible.
Hot research.
We just drank like a quart of melted butter to sound this good. Just
Wait a
put
minute.
it down the gullet.
I think you've used that joke in a previous. We've only had 2 podcasts before this, and you've already used the melted butter thing.
Oh my gosh, Lemon.
I didn't, did I? I don't
Lemon.
think.
Pretty sure you
It's
did.
the same jokes going on and on and on.
We're already out of ideas.
That's all we
I
have.
gotta remember to use. I gotta
Writer's
remember
block.
to use my. I gotta remember to use my gamer podcast voice. What's up, guys? What's up, puppeteers? This is Verendy Puppet.
We
What's
did
up,
talk about.
puppeteers?
We did. You're making fun of it, but that's such a YouTube gaming channel thing. We made
It's a
made jokes
nightmare.
about our outros last time, but maybe we should have some intros.
Yeah.
I think "What's Up, Puppeteers" is pretty solid.
What's up, So are we your puppeteers? And isn't a puppeteer
No, that'd be
somebody
his,
who
that'd be
works?
his fans.
But a puppeteer is the person who works the puppets, right?
Am I even real?
Yeah, like you're a puppet and we're your puppeteers. We're just like working the angles and the strings and making you dance.
How do people
Cool.
know I'm not just a bot? Honestly, I mean, I'm a Verendy Puppet, right? I'm a puppet. Who's pulling the strings? Who's pulling the strings here, people?
I don't know.
Santo Gardas. No
Jesus,
doubt.
take the strings.
Jesus, take the strings. Dang. Jesus joke right out the gate.
Boom. Although
Controversial.
all right. But if you actually wanted to be a puppeteer, like how do you get into that? Like the top level puppeteer guy is like clearly like the Sesame Street crew, but like I don't even know. That's so
I think there's a number of different subcultures associated with puppeteers. Like you've got the guys who are really into like whittling and woodworking, and they're really into making their own puppets. And then there's the posers who just order puppets online, and I don't know.
And then there's
these fishing string.
There's the creepy puppets, like the ones up in your attic. Like remember that Goosebumps book? That was like all about like the creepy puppet.
Wait a second. Wait, that passing comment you made about creepy puppets in my attic is getting me a little worried.
Yeah.
Have you been putting puppets in my attic? Like creepy puppets in my attic?
Just really creepy ones. Like they're tiny. They're dust. Like
Does them being tiny make them scarier? The smaller they are, the scarier.
I would imagine so. I don't know. I don't know what makes a puppet creepy or not.
This whole conversation just has me thrown off right now. I feel really uncomfortable.
Sorry.
Lots of very, very tiny, finger-sized puppets.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
A bunch of creepy finger puppets.
Intricately carved joints and limbs.
Ooh. Yeah, so I think you should keep up with the What's Up Puppeteers. I think
those tiny little noses. Can you imagine? Oh.
Button noses, if you will.
Painted all flush and pink.
I don't even remember what we were talking about. Now we're just talking about we were talking about our slogans that we enter with.
So your What's Up Puppeteers, what's yours gimmick? You got to come up with something.
Nothing too gimmicky. Oh yeah.
Mine's gonna be Get Squeezed. Lemon Smith. Get squeezed.
What's up?
I'm just gonna yell my name in kind of a low voice. What's up, gimmick fans? No, that didn't really work. I'm gonna have to put some thought into it. Maybe it's What's up, boys? It's Gimmick. Well, how's that?
Yeah. I think
It's not really.
pretty
It's
good.
not really a play off words. It's just kind of voice comedy. Not even comedy, just voice hype, huh?
yeah, no,
Like
I'm into it.
PewDiePie goes high. Maybe I'll just go low.
Go real low. Ooh.
Have you ever looked up like a simple YouTube video, like an instruction on how to fix a bug on a video game, and you couldn't even get through the intro because the guy's voice was such a like, well, gimmicky nightmare. Just
Yeah.
like, oh god, I hate it.
Like smash, double like, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. What's up, my
Yeah.
dudes?
Yeah, yeah. Well, on that Tarkov train we've been on, I watched a Tarkov video today by a guy. I won't name his name, but it was one of the most painful intros I've ever heard.
Do it.
But you
Name names. Call them out.
Witch hunt.
It's too small of a community.
Let's kill him. Speaking of Tarkov, I think we need to make a little bit of an amendment on our episode 1. We kind of really bashed on the AI, just like a little bit, right?
Deservedly at the time.
Yeah, that's
And then we really we poo-pooed on the AI, but now how's the AI? They've made a patch, they fixed some things.
A day after recording, they patched it. And scavs have returned to their glory. They're still probably on the easier side, but I feel like that's a safer bet for where the game's at right now. As they develop the game, it's better than just having a bunch of hack bots. But the AI no longer aimbots you from across the map with the worst pistol in the game. It's I'm having a lot less panic attacks while playing.
yeah. We just got out. We just got out of a shootout that like felt real. Like I felt like I was killing real Russian
gosh.
scavengers.
Oh my god.
I felt like I was killing real Russian scavengers, and I really got off on it, honestly. I mean, it was
That's the goal. I mean,
That's the mark of a good game. That's what you know.
but
I mean,
it was seriously like a great shootout. It was like us versus 4 scavs, and they were taking cover and they were moving and they were getting arm shots on us, like they were covering fire. It was like it did not feel like aimbot.
yeah.
and
yeah.
so was the patch more of a like they just reverted back to an old algorithm that they had for the AI, or did they tinker with what they had and have made something that works beautifully?
I think they really tinkered with it because there seems to be a lot of changes. There are fewer waves of scavs, and there are fewer scavs per wave, and the gear that they drop is different. They're not dropping like big backpacks, and it seems like they're dropping more armor. And yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Gimmick?
Well, I mean, according to their own patch notes, an assist system, I think, is perfect. I'm sure they'll get better at it, but the idea of the scavs aim will get better the longer you're in their crosshairs. So if you're just standing there shooting and you're missing, then you have a couple seconds before they get to that headshot stage. But that makes a lot more sense. That if you're just standing there or in their sights, they're going to slowly close their aim in. So you have to be the sharper one. And even at first, they'll still get arm shots and stuff on you, which kind of makes your character flinch a little bit. Oh my god, my phone. What an embarrassment. It's vibrating on the podcast.
Bzzz.
Oh
Who
my
is it?
gosh.
Is it your dad?
Let's see. Oh, it's Dad, all right.
Daddy?
Dad.
Daddy?
He's actually the only person contact I have. He texts me once an hour to make sure I'm okay.
And
Anyway, that's about it. I think that's a great system. Instead of just immediately going onto your head, but still making them hard, still making them so you can't just stand there, daydreaming while shooting. That forces you to, if you do get off a couple bad shots, you need to take cover and then reapproach. And by that time, they'll probably have taken cover. It's a lot better system. It works great. I'm totally.
we applaud you, devs. You've done a good job. Clearly, they're listening to our podcast. I mean,
Yep.
It's the only
Nice
thing that
work,
makes sense.
devs.
Round of applause.
Nice work.
But we would love to talk about Tarkov for like 2 to 3 or 4 more hours. But that's not the main topic today. And trust me, this is going to make sense. But have either of you guys gone parachuting before?
No.
No? Neither of you?
Only in the digital world. I
Only
have no desire. Not because
no
I'm afraid, but
desire.
just because it's a lot of money to do such a thing that is. I'm not an experience junkie, you know? I'd rather have nice things.
For $20. If it was
Nice
$20 to jump out of a plane, would you do it?
Not my cup of tea. I'm surprised how surprised you are that we have not.
I feel like
been-
once you get to a certain age, everybody's jumped out of a plane.
Have you jumped out of a plane?
Yes, of course.
I guess that makes
I'm
sense for you.
30
You
years
are an
old.
experience junkie.
I'm a huge experience junkie. It's an experience that everyone needs to have, including both of you. That's why I've bought you guys a Groupon to jump out of a plane.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
Oh boy.
No, I didn't do that. But if I did, you would or you wouldn't. You'd be like, not my thing.
Only if we record the podcast as we jump.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop on that train.
I actually went parachuting. I did it myself, and then my dad did it. And my dad is also a huge experience junkie, and I would say a bit of an adrenaline junkie. And so he was 50, he was like 55 when he went up there. And he told the guy that he was jumping with, because you have to have like a licensed parachuter on his back. He told the guy to do as many flips as possible. And so they jump out of the plane. They're doing a crap ton of flips and like every little trick that the guy knows. And my dad totally passes out. And so there's all these people, including my family, on the ground watching him float down out of the sky, and he's just completely slumped over. It was actually kind of really terrifying in the moment. We thought he had a heart attack, but it turns out that he just wasn't breathing. Like, he held his breath.
Didn't your dad
What
have
a guy.
something? Didn't your dad have a saying about like breaking bones and something like that?
Yeah, he says, you're not trying hard enough unless you break something. He's broken a lot of the bones in his hands and wrists.
I'd like to
scary.
inform the viewers that Lemon Smith has been hit in the back of the head at full force with a golf club.
And the front of the head. But only, well, not really by accident. I was going to say by accident.
Out of love.
Out of love. It was a family fight. Everybody has those, though. It's a normal thing.
Yeah.
But my favorite parachuting game of all time, it's real hot right now, it's big, is PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. We love this game. This is your guys' favorite game. Am I right?
Round of applause. Cheers all around for PUBG.
Cheers all around for PUBG. They've just done it right. And honestly, the parachuting is fun in that game, is it not?
I mean, if we're actually talking about parachuting, I think GTA 5's probably got an edge up on best parachuting game. It's a small niche for sure.
No,
That's true.
It's
parachuting is
GTA
really
5.
good.
It's got the gold medal there.
Is it though? I mean,
yeah. The parachuting is better in GTA 5, and it's also better in H1Z1 Battle Royale. I don't know if you've played that, but it has almost the same mechanics as PUBG.
Yeah, I haven't played
PUBG
that.
as a parachuting game probably gets a 2 out of 10.
Actually, but I understand and appreciate the transition that Lemon is making here.
Yeah.
I understand and appreciate the transition.
It's a long transition to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of commitment.
There wasn't the final point, though. The final point of this transition was IGN reviewed PlayerUnknown PUBG as a parachute game and gave it a 10 out of 10.
Really?
They said out of all the games that ever been made, it's the best parachuting game out there.
I mean, I believe that without question.
Yeah.
I think it's the best game that has parachuting as a central mechanic. Right? That would probably make more sense.
Yeah, that would make more sense. No, they didn't write
what
that.
what are your guys? I'm looking at my total hours played on PUBG. I think we should pull that up and look at compare hours.
Oh dear, you're gonna take the cake here for
All
sure.
right, I don't have mine actually right here. It would be impossible for me to do so, but I think I'm at like 330.
I'm at 470, baby.
Oh,
470.
What?
what are
I'm
you
at
at?
one. I'm at 144.
You,
Oh,
you probably
wow.
But
got a
I'm
lot more kills
but
than
I'm a hell of a lot better than you two.
No,
yeah.
no, no,
You
no, no,
probably
no,
got.
no, no, no. How many of you? How many of you guys have a number one this season? Huh? Neither of you.
I don't know. I don't think
Neither.
Oh,
so.
this season I haven't played this season.
This
I haven't played
season.
in like
Yeah, I
I don't even
played
know
this.
if they have seasons now.
Yeah. Oh
Oh,
no,
man,
they don't. They don't have
apparently
seasons.
I okay.
They
Thank
don't have
goodness.
seasons.
I thought wow, I'm really unprepared to talk about this game
What
because
did you
I
mean?
didn't even know they have seasons.
They wipe
Stat wipe?
yeah, they wipe the stats.
Before the stat wipe, I was ranked 2000 in duos and like
Oh, wow.
3500 in squad.
You're so
Huh? Pretty
powerful.
good. I mean,
That's
that's
good.
pretty good considering the hundreds of thousands of people that play.
Well, here and
He's a big boy. He's
he,
a big
Big
boy.
boy.
he's a big
Big
guy.
boy.
Big boy.
Well, the
Big boy.
parachuting's fun. I feel like the parachuting's a blast and the looting's a blast. Like, isn't it like there's a certain joy in just like rummaging through a whole town, like trying to get fully geared out within like 5 to 10 minutes? There's just something sweet.
Yeah. The loot porn is real.
It is definitely a looter's game for sure, which I would definitely fall into that category. Loot hungry.
Yeah,
I have a loot problem. I've died so many times just because I gotta check one more building, gotta get some more loot, or I'm looting somebody and I die just because, and I don't need the loot. I just sit there and I have a loot problem. It's just
what do
it's
you
a
think
no
you're
going
like? What do you think in your personality leads to this problem?
Greed, maybe? Materialism, greed, power.
It's pretty deep. It's a deep question.
Yeah, like if you
I don't
can
know if
look
I'm ready.
deep within you,
Dude,
just
I'm the guy. Even not to bring up Tarkov again, but thank God PUBG doesn't have a global inventory because in Tarkov I have probably 12 fully modded AKs and M4s. You know, high level body armor, all this crazy stuff, and most of the time I go in naked with a pistol just because I want the satisfaction of going in with little and coming out with a ton. And I
just
don't want to
all that
risk any.
stuff.
I'm like a dragon. I don't want to risk any of my horde.
Yeah, there was actually a really fun in the PUBG Reddit. They do these challenges, and one of the challenges was to like basically get the most, like see how looted you could get, like the most ammo in every single gun and all this stuff. And so it was just like you just going from town to town to town, from like Pochinki to all the little communities, just getting as much loot as you possibly could carry. Oh, that's so nice. But here's the deal. You do all that looting, and sometimes you do like killer, right? You get a bunch of kills and you get in the top 10 or so. And then other times you spend like 10 to 15 minutes looting, and then some dude just like pops you out of
Try
nowhere.
like 25 minutes looting, and then somebody pops you.
Yeah, I mean it
Yeah.
could be that bad.
Sometimes you don't see any, not because you're not looking for it, but like you don't see anybody until the circle's so small, and then you lose your first fight. Those are the worst. And sometimes you get shit gear, and you kill one person and they're geared, and suddenly you're geared, and then you go on to win it.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
used to parachute as far away from the flight path as I could. A lot of times I'd go off onto the that west side street, that west side road along the coast, just to get away from people, and I literally would just loot for like 80% of the round. I'd just hang out by myself and loot.
If you're looking to win, that's not a bad strategy, but it's such a slow. I know by the end, not that we've finished playing, but I haven't played in a bit, just mostly because of other games that have taken precedent. But we started, I think we all started like that, and then by the latter time that we've played, we were just parachuting right into Pachinki every round.
Yeah, but I feel
Yeah.
like that's such more of a gamble. Like I feel like if you want to guarantee win, you parachute into like a no name or like lesser populated spot, and you just play it super easy. But you're right,
A,
it's
a
not.
guarantee win is coming on a little strong, but yeah,
Oh
a
yeah,
better
not gonna
chance for
yes,
sure.
a guarantee win. Let me
If you
tell
want a
you.
guarantee win, I think you need to
This is
go
coming
to
from
some
I
some sketchy websites and download some sketchy programs.
right. Whereas the Pochinki method is it's just mayhem and it's fun. And if you're like the kings of Pochinki, like isn't it just a wonderful feeling going into the like mid game, having dominated that whole city? It's just a
And
sweet
yeah,
experience.
you have the advantage of, I mean, I don't know if this is statistically true, but I feel like when you're in Pachinki, you never get caught outside of the circle early on. Like it seems like you're always in the middle, and it's easy to get in the circle.
Yeah.
There's less pressure.
No, it makes sense. It's like in the
Yep.
very middle of the map, so you've got that big massive circle. And
It's
here's
definitely the advantage of that. It's a little high risk at the beginning, but you if you win that first battle in the city, then you have a lot of time to get your stuff in order because the circle's not going to be far no matter what, unless it's on like military base. Then it's a nightmare. I hate when it does that. It's
yeah.
the worst.
This is the only game that I play, and then when I go into the real world, when I'm going through life, I'll look around and see a backpack and be like, "Oh my gosh, it's a level 2 backpack." Or I'll see a car and be like, "Oh, is that a Dacia from, PUBG?" Like I don't know what it is about this game where it makes me do that. But like I've never played like Elder Scrolls and
Obsession.
seen like a sword and be like, "Oh my gosh, it's an Elder
Wait a
Scrolls."
minute. How often do you just come across swords? Maybe if we lived in a world where swords were just kind of a common thing, you might
You're
think,
in
Yeah,
Target and
that
you
an
see.
elven blade?
Yeah.
yeah.
The
Maybe we need
curvature
to
of that
be.
blade really speaks to the elven community there. I think that's a level 60
Okay,
blade
okay.
there.
I
Okay,
think
maybe
we
not
need to
Elder
be.
Scrolls.
I think we need to be checking in on Lemon more often to, make sure he's not getting into situations where he's seeing too many swords in real life. And that might be something we want to check in on him with.
Yeah. I'm
The,
glad to hear that you don't think that when
although I
playing
say
with
this, and I did see two swords this weekend. That's not the norm. But
Do tell this
I was at a
story.
garage sale and they had two samurai swords on a rack, and I pulled them out with my friend, and we asked the owner if it'd be okay to hit the swords together, and he let us. And so we like hit the swords together and then just kind of felt weird and put the swords back away.
You hit the swords together with big smiles on your face, and
Yeah,
then you slowly turned your head to him, who was an old Japanese man, and you saw a single tear floating down his face.
that's exactly what happened.
Just the complete bastardization of his culture, just on the mind. You just saw him
Oh.
just selling his soul, and he tried to smile. He kind of put on a smile. Oh yes, go
Oh
ahead,
yeah.
try it all you want.
And there's nothing that I could do to make him feel better, because anything that I know about his culture is from like a not a Tom Hanks. Who was in that movie with the samurai? Tom Hanks, The Last
Yeah, that was
Samurai.
yeah.
Anything
That was Tom Hanks.
anything you know about Japanese culture comes from Tom Hanks.
Tom.
Most
Yeah,
Americans, that's
it was a
true.
movie. I remember this movie. It was Tom Hanks on a boat. He was captain of the ship, and he had the samurai sword. Right, captain of the
Right, right,
ship,
right, 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 right.
samurai sword,
That
and
was
he
it.
Fought some
shrimping.
guys.
He was shrimping also. There's something about
The Last Samurai
the
Shrimp.
shrimping boat. Yeah, the last samurai shrimp. Yeah, I think
The
that was it.
Last Shrimp is a beautiful movie. Yeah, it's everything I know about it. But
Yeah.
here's what I
Tom
love.
Cruise, by the way, is who I believe you were referring to.
That's who I
And
was
I
thinking.
also don't believe that at all.
What, the
that
story about seeing the
that
swords?
The Last Samurai is where you have most of your Japanese cultural information.
Well, I'm trying. Where else do I have it?
I don't know,
Uh,
anime? Anime is
okay,
actually a more
anime.
accurate insight since it's actually
So
made by the
Naruto,
Japanese instead of
Death
Hollywood.
Note. There's a kid in Japan with like a little notebook and he's killing people. And sushi and Tokyo.
Oh my goodness. Or
And
you're just garnering some
anyone
some
anyone who's Japanese and listening to this podcast now knows I'm very ignorant of their culture.
unsubscribed. They just hit subscribe when we were goofing and gaffing about our silly little intros, and now they've just hit unsubscribe, and their mouse is just going up to that X button to close this out.
I'm
Dang
pretty
it.
sure. I'm pretty sure me and Gary saw Last Samurai together in theaters when it came out. There's a little phase there where you and me were going to the movies together quite a bit. I think
That's
early
right.
early college.
Oh, the good days.
What was that other one that we saw with Mark Wahlberg? Sniper?
Oh yeah, Shooter.
Shooter. Yeah,
Brothers.
I hate it. There was another one, Fire. What was that one? He was a it was
Ladder 49.
motorcycle skeleton man.
Oh,
It was,
Jack Nicklaus.
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider. We saw Ghost Rider. That was a nightmare. But yeah, I remember I hated Shooter, and you really liked it.
But here's the thing.
No. I thought it started. The first half was like, this is good. This is building up to be good, and then the last half, or like the climax, was just the most unoriginal, like just garbage thing. It's just like, oh man, you set this movie up to have a lot of like a nuanced climax, but you just went full on Marky Mark kill everyone in impossible ways. Look at this water bottle that I stuffed with grass is going to silence my 50 caliber sniper rifle that I'm shooting on a boat while it's floating down the river standing up. Oh my.
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Wow, he's a professional.
What was that one based on Greek mythology that we saw? Remember where they wake up the it's like on a cliff, they wake up the
300.
No.
Troy.
I've been wanting to rewatch that movie. It was pretty good.
No one knows.
You're gonna have to explain.
The Goliaths? What is it in Greek mythology? The sleeping giants.
Oh, the Titans?
Yeah, remember they wake up the Titans?
Yeah, that's
it was a good movie. It was pretty good.
It was it was like a underrated movie.
Yeah, I looked up
gods.
Yeah, it was about gods. I remember I looked it up recently, and like
I think it might have the word gods in it. I think it's called like gods, and oh man, who was the main character in that? There were some big actors in that. I thought that movie didn't get very good reviews, but I always thought it was a very underrated movie. It was a little cheesy, yeah, but I mean, it's Greek mythology. Like Greek mythology has to be cheesy and to some degree.
Yeah, it was kind of like 300.
Anyway. It was like it was that style. It was like the first movie that got released on that like wave, you know.
Yeah.
And they did it pretty well. Oh, the the guy from Avatar was the main character.
Oh, the big blue guy.
It had like pretty stylized combat, and it looked cool. It was a good. I don't remember what it was anyway.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
If anybody knows what movie we're talking about, even though we don't, please tell us. You'd really help out our friends here.
Clash of the Titans.
Oh.
Is that what it was called?
Most likely.
Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans. Okay, so you've parachuted onto this island. You don't know anybody. Like for you guys, it's your first time parachuting. You've never parachuted before. You're plummeting towards this island, 100 other people, and you can just see murder in their eyes. Do you think you could be the last man standing? Do you think you could successfully land, find some weapons, and hide and kill everyone to be the last man? Like, we're dropping you onto Cuba. You and 100 other people.
Why Cuba?
I was the only island I could think of out the top of my head.
Oh, also, Clash of the Titans was not the movie. All right, to be clear, that movie sucked.
Oh, okay.
Immortals.
It's his favorite movie.
It was Immortals.
Immortals. Okay.
Immortals was the movie. Clash of the Titans was horrible.
We love.
I'm gonna make it a point. I'm gonna make it a point to rewatch Immortals sometime soon.
Underrated movie. Underrated for show.
Yeah, it was good. Very, very stylistic. Looked good. It was a good looking movie.
Yeah.
I would die.
I think you could stand a chance. You know,
Yeah,
you don't think
maybe.
Are
you could
you
hide?
are you still
I'm a
talking
decent
about?
shot.
Sorry, okay, let's reel this in. What are we talking about?
We've
We parachute into if you parachuted into Cuba, how many Cubans would you kill
no, not
before they overtook you?
Oh man,
we
I
really
feel like
spiraled.
if I parachuted into, if there was a random sampling of the population and I parachuted onto an island with loot everywhere, I think I would stand a better chance in real life than I do in the video game because all those 12-year-olds that kill me
Yeah.
in PUBG, I would definitely kill in real life.
Oh my
Can we
god.
hashtag that? Can we keyword this podcast? Um, child murder.
Child murder.
That's an option. That
Yeah.
option's always out there.
Which it would kind of remind me of I don't know if you've seen the PUBG servers, which has a zombie mode, and they have 4 people in a squad, and the 96 other people are all just basically they can't wear any clothes, they're just completely naked, and they can only use their fists. And so, like by the end of the round, there's just like a huge mass of people chasing down 4 people and trying to punch them to death. It's awesome. That'd be like you, but with the 12-year-olds. Although 12-year-olds are like they're actually like a 12-year-old could actually do some damage, man.
Well, I would not saying I just waltz up with not trying, but I think I'd have a better chance. We'll just say instead of saying killing them to
Yeah.
further imply that
We're
I'm
not
trying to
killing
kill 12-year-olds.
12-year-olds.
In this theoretical kind of battle royale that we're talking about, I would have a better chance of defeating a 12-year-old in real life than on a video game. You know, my senses grow dull as the age progresses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your
12-year-old,
reflexes.
they've got the underdeveloped prefrontal cortex, so they've got a hard time with executive functions, setting their priorities straight. So, they get in a large scale battle, they might get a little confused, maybe distracted. They have a very sensitive limbic system as well. So it's easy to throw them off, especially if you have a flashbang. Flashbang a group of 12-year-olds,
Yeah.
and my gosh, you have something there. You're at a
Oh
huge
my
advantage.
gosh.
Oh man, that was some surprisingly, you know, intelligent commentary on defeating a 12-year-old or even
Just
a group of them.
flashbang them. Wow. Here's why I
Yeah.
love this game though. On a serious note, this game is so good because that idea where you're going into a server with 100 people, and if you're playing, by yourself, you're not in squad. You're just trying to get to the last man standing, and you can go like the full on like gun people down route, or you can do the super sneaky route. But you really have to decide as you play the game what's the wisest thing to do that's going to make you last longer. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes you gotta, sometimes you have to start shooting at some opponent that you see. Other times you decide not to. And depending where the circle is, depending on how much loot you have, depending on where you're at on the map, there's just so many different choices that I feel it makes the game very interesting.
I
Unlike a
think
game like, Counter Strike or even Overwatch, where the map and everything is, I mean,
yeah, I mean that's why those two games failed.
I mean, those are good games.
Yeah, oh
That's
yeah.
why
And that's
that's why
why
Yep,
those two
yep,
games are just financially
yeah.
bankrupt.
destitute.
On the verge of shutdown.
Well, I love those games, but this is different. There's more randomness to this game, but it doesn't feel so random that you just get screwed.
It's a perfect like esport type of game. Like these games that come out with the, there's like board game mechanics almost to them where there's strategy. Like you design it and you know that there's going to be different ways to play this and those ways are going to get refined and refined, and as you tweak and patch little things the whole meta of the game will change based off a minor patch. And those type of games in my experience have always been successful because they they hit that competitive itch that gamers have like way better than other games that kind of are just rinsing and repeating the regular first person shooter multiplayer system. um I totally agree. I think that the setup, the strategic kind of parts of PUBG are what make it great, and then the smoothness of it. Even though there's been some problems with performance and all that, that it's an alpha game, so those are the type of things that you have to forgive. But relatively to like H1Z1, H1Z1, it ran fine, but it just always felt clunky. PUBG feels smooth. It feels competitive. You have that edge, that this little edge that makes a big difference in these games, and I think that's why it's just obliterated that battle royale genre.
Yeah, it does feel smooth, and currently it feels pretty polished. Although when we were playing it at first, there were some optimization issues and some glitchiness and stuff. But I was actually, I mean, yeah, like I said, I have 470 hours in that game, and it's not even the kind of game that I like to play. I need like, I need not, I don't like having a story, but I like having a sense of progression. I need overall progression. I need to like have my own story. I need XP. I need to see my character getting stronger. I need to have loot that I can actually keep and build on and maybe like tinker with and craft and stuff. I need that. But then I started playing PUBG and somehow it sucked me in. And again, I was surprised. I was just like, "Oh, why?" And I think my conclusion on that was the map. I think the map in PUBG is superb. It's tailored. The geography of the map is set up to foster interesting interactions. I think the way, like the forests and the hills and the farms and where the buildings are placed, but just the geography and the flow of the map are clearly tailored, and they're just that's what I fell in love with. I fell in love with the map. I really like the map, and that's what kept me going because I don't play games like that where there's no progression. Uh, that yeah, usually it loses my interest. But the map,
These days, I'm the same way. RPG elements are like big sell points for me. Like, even though I still have a special place in my heart for competitive shooters and probably always will. The games that really get me are the ones with role playing, the ones with like some kind of leveling system. And I mean, heck, even like Overwatch has a leveling system. It doesn't need to, but it does, and just that little bit of role
Little
playing
something.
thing, it adds such a huge, especially competitive. I think the competitive system the ranking system that games, which is actually fairly new,
Yeah.
to my knowledge, is it's huge because there's something you're working to achieve. And if I want to hit, masters in Overwatch, I have to work at it. I have to get there. I can't, it's not just something that you give to me. It's not just something that comes from my time played. It's something I have to work towards. And even the time played mechanic, there's the other leveling system. It's mostly aesthetic. You get loot boxes, but you get loot boxes, you make your characters look cooler, and you get a little badge of honor, everybody can see your level and you're all proud.
And there's so much
Just
with the
those little
game.
elements add a ton. Like,
Yeah.
it's such a small thing, but it adds a ton to, like, this is why I want to play another round at 3 a.m.
And you could play so differently, like I said, you could go drop into Pochinki and be the Pochinki boys and just get fast action. You could drop off somewhere else and just go real slow. Or you could just jump into a vehicle and just like cruise around, just trying to search other people and gun them down. So there's enough variety within the gameplay to kind of to hit what you're looking for.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was saying in reference to that PUBG has none of those things, and it still captured my attention, which was impressive.
Oh, but I feel
yeah,
like for you at least, Puppet, isn't the looting kind of a progression thing for you? Maybe like you come in with nothing, but then if you spend X amount of time looting all these buildings, you kind of build up your gear and your guns, and then you start looking for optics or meds.
yeah. The loot stimuli is definitely a weakness of mine. I think it's been a weakness of mine just because of the games that I played early on. I mean, Ashwin's Call was so loot heavy. Ashwin's Call still probably has the best looting system. Well, it has no looting system now because it's dead, but having a great looting system early on in one of your first games, it really makes you fall in love with that feeling of looting and the RNG of opening up, running into a building and seeing what spawned. I just love that feeling. And so I do love looting, but it's still counterintuitive that I liked the game because you lose all your loot at the end of the round, But the map drew me in. The map was great. I love getting a decent, mid-level loadout and then just get like hiking up into the mountains and finding good positioning in the circle and using the geography to move. I just love the strategy and the way the map. I just think the map is really well tailored. It's a good reaction to procedurally generated maps like what Rust was doing for a while.
It does
Not
make
for a
sense
while,
when
still is.
I don't even know who that is. Is it some person?
Rust.
Oh, Rust.
Yeah,
I
Uncle
thought you,
Rust.
I was
Uncle
like,
Rust.
I was like,
My uncle Rusty. You met him at
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
he's doing procedurally
Guy with the scrub.
improvised maps. Cool.
Yeah, for a little while there, Rust was doing a full blown procedurally generated Minecrafty feeling nightmare, but now they've really honed it down
Well, they have
to where it's
seeds.
more of a seeded.
Yeah, they have
Yeah,
seeds now.
it's almost like an old. It's almost a seeded map, kind of like how they used to do with like old Age of Empires maps or something. It's seeded that way but they've the Rust maps now are they're pretty solid. They're pretty consistent and pretty well tailored as well.
Well, now when there's these big, huge, like, floods and hurricanes and earthquakes happening around the world, and you look on the news station and there's looters just jumping into Walmart, ripping out TVs and backpacks and hats and beanies and sunglasses, you know that they've been playing some PUBG, right? They've been playing PUBG, they've been looting it up, and now they see an opportunity to experience what they've experienced in the virtual world, but in real life.
Yeah, most looters are looting hats, beanies, and sunglasses in these natural disasters
And a
for sure.
TV. And a
Yep.
TV.
And they're looking for silencers. I mean, on the news when you see one of these, a riot and there's a looting frenzy,
Yeah.
you see some guy running down the street with an armful of silencers and he's just ecstatic. He's like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're gonna silence
guys
them
busting
for
out of the front of the shop with a 4X scope. Yeah, woo!
yeah, the 4X.
I did it.
You made it. Although since the new patch, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but they've on the actual map, like when you click M or tab or whatever it is, it comes up. They actually named all the different little areas of the map. And if I could critique the devs or the dev or whoever's the developers, it's they named some of the places really weird. So you guys know what we used to call Crater, right? Is with the 5 warehouses and the one big building.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Crater. It's no longer called Crater. It's called the Prison. Does that place remind you of a prison at all?
Yep, there's
I
prison
guess.
cells.
Yeah, I
I
guess
mean,
it is.
the prison cells are really what gave it away as a prison.
So I don't think I really see a prison there. And then above it is they call it the mansion, which clearly it's a puppy pound. It's got a full-on gated area to hold in the puppies. It's got all these little rooms that looks like a veterinarian's clinic. They really dropped the
Well,
ball to the naming.
all right. Well, I
Oh.
mean, we're gonna have to figure out how to move past this whole puppy pound conversation. I think, but I think we can do it.
You know, one thing I'd like to actually bring up. So he's that Lemon said. He said, the devs or dev or whoever makes this game. I just wish there was an easy way to tell like who made this game.
No one knows.
Like this game of all games, it's so ambiguous who is responsible for it.
Yeah, player unknown. Like, who is he? What's he like?
I guess you could write a handwritten letter to Steam.
Yeah, that's
maybe.
true. I mean, PlayerUnknown is the gaming tag. So I was actually making a jab at you, but now that you actually said
Yeah.
player
See how
unknown,
I knew you were
I
making a
guess I
jab, but I
guess
dodged, I
guess it
weaved.
can go both ways. Yeah, yeah. Hey, kudos.
Kudos. I wonder what he's like though. Like if he sat down with us and just like,
I think he's. I've seen him before, but I also heard some gaming news or something, and he did something stupid recently. Just something dumb, like some,
yeah,
you know.
the tweet storm, the Twitter
Yeah,
storm
yeah,
related
yeah.
to PUBG. He
Yeah, he
I
said, "Oh, he banned that streamer that wears the goofy wig and
yeah,
stuff
Dr.
because
Disrespect.
Dr. Disrespect." Yeah, that was stupid. He's just a little triggered. What are they called? Cult of outrage. I hate
I
that crap.
but
Oh,
but I mean the guy was clearly breaking the rules. You're not supposed to TK people and he did it just completely
no,
randomly.
no, 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 not that guy. I believe that guy should be banned.
Oh,
Talking
okay.
about he posted this big he banned that guy. Then there was a bunch of news, and then he wrote this big Twitter thing about how that triggered him because he was bullied
That's
in
right.
school, and that made it had a response. Da, 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 da. It's like, okay, like I agree that that guy who TK should be banned. It's against the rules. But then Doctor Disrespect, I think, was the guy who came in after, and he made some joke about the guy's tweet,
Right,
and
right.
then he got. I could be totally off on this, but that is kind of what I remember. I know that the one of the guys got banned for some dumb reason because somebody made a jab at that thing. But that was that guy's I guess that like that's his character on stream is just this. I mean,
This
Doctor Disrespect. So it's just like, come on, dude. Like, get yourself together.
It's a pretty big statement to the gaming community as well, because I mean, Player Unknown, where does it stand among like the most popular games in the
Oh,
world? Like,
I think it's like top 3 right now. Like on Twitch, it's constantly
there's
top 3.
League, there's
I think it
League.
passed up Counter Strike in concurrent players.
So what's above it? League and Dota?
Just League. No, Dota's like always hung back at like 8, 9, at least on Twitch. Like I don't even think it's even in the running as far as concurrent players. It's too hard of a game for most people. They just play League.
yeah, steep learning curve if you haven't played that kind of game.
Well, it's not the second most popular game in the world, then, right?
No,
I
I
mean,
think it
Habbo.
actually
Habbo Hotel.
might be.
for concurrent users, huh?
It's number 1. It's past League of Legends by a landslide on Twitch right now. Right now on Twitch, it has 106.6 thousand viewers. League of Legends has 77,000.
But what
Third
about like
third
on the
place is Overwatch with 25. That drop off is insane. It's got over 4 times more than the 3rd place on Twitch.
I know that's
I'm gonna
huge.
check. I'm gonna
Which
check
begs the
Steam
question,
charts.
like,
Dota's got 10.3.
oh wow, that is insane. I think PUBG really makes the argument that the whole alpha beta, eventually going to gold, can be a viable and successful model for game developers.
Yeah, a lot of people whine about I say whine as an obvious bias, so you already know where I stand on this, but about how alpha early access games have like ruined gaming, but because I mean to their credit, there's a lot of games where they're money grabs. Some developers have this great idea, they get all their money, they get a bunch of money, and then they do a bunch of coke, and then they never finish their
Oh my
game.
gosh. Give an example. Give us a name of a game. Money
Personal
grab.
names, absolutely. I've
No, no,
got
no, no, no. Well, of
their
a game.
personal names and addresses.
Video
I
game.
mean, DayZ for one, has got a lot of flack. It's just been horrible for a long time. There's a I mentioned in a different podcast, 7 Days to Die. I love that game, but it's like got no hope of ever going gold. It's been a glitchy like the developers have actually done a lot, but it stayed like this glitchy mess for such a long time. Like I just don't see that game ever going gold. There's a lot of people that get burned by that, and there's a ton of games that I couldn't mention off the top of my head because I haven't played them because they've gotten such bad reviews because
Right.
they release, they have these big promises, and then people buy them right like on day one because they look amazing, and then years go by. Remember, Cube World. Remember Cube World?
Yeah.
That is the ultimate example. He just abandoned it. He got a bunch of money, and there's just he like over a year went by with no word from I don't even and that's just gone. Like that game had such high potential. Like it was an amazing game as it was, but it was clearly unfinished. One of those games where you play it for a week and you're like, okay, I think I'm done, but man, I'm excited about where this is going. And then just nothing. He just took all the money and ran. So I agree. Like I see the point of people arguing against alphas, but they're like the amount of indie games about people making the games they want without big developer or big publishers getting in their way. The potential is huge. I mean, Player Unknown made what he wanted, and like if he had a um, big whatever company behind him, he may not have been able to make that game. It may have had a bunch of compromises. Same with Minecraft is the ultimate success story in that, and I think most even games that are money grabs, most of the time you still get your money's worth. $15 and I play 50 hours.
Yeah, that's the
Cool.
thing. I believe if you're going to get into the whole alpha beta, if anything, you should just do your research a little bit. Go on the Reddit, see what the bugs and glitches are, see where it's at, read some reviews, and then kind of weigh in whether you think it's going to be worth the money. Because if you're going into any alpha or beta, you just need to expect that there's going to be glitches and bugs. And so it is pretty annoying to be online and have people complain about some bugs or glitches that a game has if they bought it before it's actually been finalized.
Yeah. The only game I've ever returned on Steam was a AAA title. It's that Ghost Recon, not Wildlands. What was it called?
The new one?
Not Wildlands. It
Uh,
was the one before that where it was almost like a Counter-Strike esque.
I didn't play it. It was
I don't
bad
know.
though, huh?
Well, I bought it and then I never played it. It got such bad reviews, and then we were gonna play it together. I think our JTV Vox bought it, and then it was just like disheartening how many bad reviews it got, and we never even played it because it was just apparently like the graphics that all the trailers. It was just like half of what it was in the trailers, and while graphics aren't a big deal, it still just is kind of a Ubisoft has done that a lot. It's kind of like a statement that like we're willing to lie to you to sell this game.
Yeah,
And that's the only game I've ever returned on Steam. All the alpha games, even the ones that I don't play at all anymore and I have no hope will ever get gold, I got my money's worth. They're like what, 15, $20 most of the time.
I've been happy with all the ones I've had for the most part. Although I feel like, oh no, I'm happy with them all. If anything, I play them and then I just take a little breather and just wait to see what happens in the future of the game, how it gets patched and see if I want to play it again. But I like the alpha to beta or alpha beta to gold model because if anything, you get to play it sooner. Like I'd hate waiting. I'd rather just have it right here and play it what it is, and then watch it get developed.
It wasn't always like that either. I mean, alpha used to be people wouldn't play alpha, you know. Closed alphas were usually a team. They were either paid or it was a very select group of people, and they had to adhere to standards for the way that they played and the way that they reported bugs. I mean, they would get on and they'd systematically test bugs, and now this thing where it's kind of like a perk, like, oh, you get a you get access during alpha and it's a privilege and you pay $30 for it or whatever. That's pretty new.
Yeah. I remember you used to have to fill out an application to get into even a beta, let
Oh,
alone an
that's
alpha.
Yeah,
right.
list every game that you've played.
Why you're
Yep.
Like how
eligible. Isn't that silly? They'd look at the list and weigh in, be like, okay, is this guy a real gamer or not? Why does he want to
I
be in
think
our
it's
beta?
good. I think in some ways it was a better system. There's more integrity around it. I know the crowdfunding system and the alpha access system that's in place now gives opportunities to a lot of smaller studios to sell and make games, but I also think there's some I get a feeling of integrity when a company doesn't sell themselves too much. You know, when they're like, look,
You mean
like
too early?
well, when they like don't sell their whole selves, yeah, too early, but also when they're like not overly like pushing, when they're not like pushing too much on like social media or on a crowdfunding website, when they're kind of doing it on their own, pulling themselves up by their bootstraps, like really selecting players and keeping the game and a lot of the information to themselves until they have a product that they're proud of, and not a product, but it should be their work. It's their dream, right? And when they keep it to themselves and polish it and work on it on their own independently, I have a lot of respect for that, and I think it shows integrity. So there is kind of a problem of how much integrity do studios have when they're adhering to this new alpha access model.
But when you're a big studio, you have the money to have that integrity. I agree on AAA title. If AAA titles, big developers were trying to pull this alpha stuff, that would be a little sketch for sure. But these smaller studios, they that's not an option. They don't get to do that. They have to actually sell early to fund the game itself. They make a game pretty much for free in its alpha state, or go into debt doing it, and then they sell it hoping they'll make their money back and then some to be able to further fund it. And those games just without this model of early access, those games just don't exist because there's just no way to. Big developers aren't going to take a gamble on a lot of these games that are like the whole survival genre popped up completely from independent developers making games that would have never been funded by big publishers.
And that's probably true that a lot of games would never have been funded, and many studios probably wouldn't be able to do what they want to do without the new pre-alpha model. But I think it has been done the other way, and there are a lot of ways. I mean, like, we don't know the people in these studios, and how I don't know how to run a studio, but I know there's a lot of different ways to get money. Like, if you want to go open a restaurant, you figure out ways to get investors. You can get private investors, and it's a company. There are a lot of different ways to fund a project.
But the gaming industry is notoriously kind of ignorant. Like the publishers, like EA, like the worst company in the world was voted. It like they're notoriously like, we want games that will sell fast, sell big, and so they pander to a certain demographic and they do not fund. Like so like there are ways. I feel like that's easier said than done. Like I just don't think there are ways for a lot of these independent developers to fund their
I
survival
think
game.
there is, but it's just a lot harder, and that's
Yeah,
where
it's harder. It's harder.
That's where it comes down to integrity, because you have some people who are like PUBG. They're like, this is the game we're building. They told people about it. They said this is what's gonna come, like first person shooters, and they delivered. Like he said it. He's got the integrity, and it happened. And so
here's the deal.
What was his funding? What was his funding model? Or I guess it's the alpha access, right? That's
right.
So PUBG is a perfect example. So first I'll say, if I was PlayerUnknown and I was making a battle royale game and I went to a publisher,
we'll call you
what they would say
PlayerUnknown
is there's already a bunch of those games. H1Z1 already owns the market. Blah 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 blah. There's no way we'll fund this game. That's what he runs into, because he's not the first one to do it. And here's the thing: this is kind of hearsay. I've heard this. I'm pretty sure it's true. But PlayerUnknown was actually a consultant for a lot of these battle royale games. He actually,
I heard that too.
He worked on H1Z1. He worked on some other battle royale games. I think there was some weird thing where he actually like hacked one of these games and then did such a good job hacking it that like the developers actually said, "Hey, you want to actually help us out here?" And he agreed, and that's
no. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about New Z. You're talking about the New Z. That's what happened with the New Z.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. That was the
two different stories.
But
I do know that he worked.
PlayerUnknown, the guy who made PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. He does have experience. He did work for a bunch of those games, but he didn't do any of the shady stuff that
No.
Well,
I don't
I
know what
heard
I don't know what
I
they
got
do.
it mixed up.
Right.
But that's the
Titov, I think
thing.
his name is Titov, the dude who worked on a bunch of Infestation
the
series games.
PUBG
And
guy opened up a puppy pound, and he's just a real nice guy and works a
Absolutely.
part-time job at Subway on the weekends.
the old puppy
Absolutely.
pound.
But I mean, the reason you think he made his own game is, I mean, he works on H1Z. He works on these big publisher games, and they're not doing it right because they're trying to pander, or they're just doing it wrong because they're not gamers, or they have too many voices, too many cooks in the kitchen. And so he went and he did it himself. And he wouldn't have been, if he tried to get a publisher, it would have had the same faults as H1Z1. It would have had the same pitfalls. But the only reason it didn't is because he made his game on his own. He early accessed it, made a bunch of money. Now he can finish that game and he can do it right.
That's
I
true.
don't think that happens.
Question:
And
who makes the Battlefield games now? Is that still on the EA bucket? Is that
DICE makes them, EA
Oh, right.
publishes them.
Okay, right. So, if anything, I think I'm excited, and maybe this should just be bad, but aren't you a little bit excited about a big publisher making a player unknown battleground type game?
H1Z1 was supposed to be that game. That was Sony. Sony made
Really?
H1Z1. It was going to be the ultimate survival game. It wasn't even a battle royale game at first, and it sucked.
Wow. Well, I mean, now
Mhm.
other big publishers are going to see the success of PUBG and try to emulate it.
They'll try, but
This is my prediction.
success.
My prediction is in 2 to 3 years, Tarkov will be 100,000 concurrent users.
This is my prediction.
That's my prediction. Tarkov, 100,000 concurrent users.
My prediction is there's going to be a new game called Puppy Pound. 1 million concurrent users, 10,000 puppies.
Oh, puppy
Why don't you
pound.
explain to us the mechanics of this game?
Each puppy has 10 to 20 people that oversee it throughout the day. So you have to have people in different time zones who are feeding it, walking it, bathing it, trimming its hair, playing with it. And so if you have 1 million,
It's a
concurrent
multiplayer
players,
Tamagotchi.
yes, except it would be like all 3 of us would be watching one puppy. So it puts the responsibility of the puppy in multiple people's hands. Puppy pound.
Multiple people.
Multiple people.
All right. How many hot dogs do you give PUBG? 1 to 10. How many chilies
For what it is,
for what it
no,
is?
it's not my. It's not exactly my cup of tea, but I think it's a 10.
Gimmick?
Well, I'm worried to give anything but the the thing that captures my heart above all, a 10. But I would give it a 9 for sure, which is it was just an amazing. I probably like it as much as Verendi, but Verendi Puppet, but I think my scale. I just leave room. I'm just going to leave that 10 open for those couple games every few years that just
Spice up your
ugh,
life.
even not even every 2 years, like those one game every 10 years probably. Those are the ones that'll get the 10.
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of 10s out there right now.
I think
there's a lot of
Tarkov
great
has 10
games.
potential. It has 10
Yeah,
potential.
potential.
It's like a 2.
I tend to buy into a game's vision rather than judging it on what it is in its alpha or beta state. I look at the vision. I look at whether it's possible. Okay, so if a game
So
did
you
not seem
love No
possible,
Man's Sky. You love it. 10 out
Yeah.
of 10.
yeah. So if a game doesn't look like Star Citizen, okay, I guess it's a 10 out of 10, but I would not give it a 10 out of 10 because I don't know if it's possible. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to deliver on that.
That's a legit concern.
But I believe in battle state games. 6 months ago, maybe not, but as of the past 3 weeks, yeah, I do because I've seen them make legit changes pretty timely, pretty quickly. And they've got their emissary program is really impressive. The way that they're opening up their lines of communication Battle State games, baby. I'm all about it. But we were talking about PUBG, weren't we? Oh shit.
Dang it, man. And I'll give it.
Always
I'm
comes
giving
back
it a
to
9.
Starcraft.
I'm giving it a 9, only because it runs really, really poorly on my computer, and other games run a lot better. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. I think 9 is like my best rating, like that I'll ever give
I'll
on a
give it a
rating.
10 if they change the mansion to the puppy pound. Then it gets a 10.
I'll give a 10 to that the spiritual success, the combination of all of my favorite games, that survival MMO done right that I've been dreaming of ever since Minecraft came out. That's the one I'll give a 10 to. It
That's
just
the one.
doesn't exist yet. Doesn't exist yet.
Someday. All right, final words. This is episode 3. What do you guys got?
I'm just sorry about the sandwiches and the portable
No, you just stop. Just stop.
to help.
All right, peace out, my puppeteers.
All right, and I guess I'll leave it with this question for both any listeners as well as ourselves. Is this even a good idea?